Let's get down in the dirt with the Home Show Garden Pros.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to the Facebook Live Home Show Garden Pros version 2021. We're not counting, that's the year. We were off for the holidays, but we're back. Home Show Garden Pros Facebook Live. This is where we answer gardening questions. It's kind of an extension of the radio show, where we'll be doing the radio show is we answer questions that people call in and ask us. We also answer gardening questions from our Facebook page, which, homeshowgardenpros.com, and our website that I just mentioned, homeshowgardenpros.com. And that's where we've gathered our questions for this show. We'll answer 4 questions with our special guest, who I'll introduce now, Becky Griffin. Becky is the founder of the Houston Gardening Group on Facebook, a huge gardening group that focuses on gardening in Houston. Hey, Becky.
Hi, Danny. So good to be with you today.
Thank you so much. And coincidence, Becky and I were camp counselors at the same time at Laity Lodge Youth Camp back in the 90s. So pretty cool stuff.
That is cool.
And here we are gardening.
Yes.
Wait, you were surprised?
It's good to be reconnected again.
Yes, absolutely. It's so nice. So what motivated you to start this gardening page that's become, 15,000 people?
That's a shock to me, by the way. But when I moved to Houston in 2008, I had just recently left a nanny position where I took care of kids. But this woman had quite a large estate, I would say. And it was a very... just an elaborate garden, and she would always encourage me to take cuttings and things like that, and to learn about taking care of the garden, because she didn't know how to do it herself. So that's where I kind of fell in love with actually growing things and taking care of a garden. And then when I moved to Houston after that position, I learned that the Houston climate is so completely different, even from Louisiana, which is just 4 or 5 hours away. So I was having a lot of struggles that I wasn't having in Louisiana. In Louisiana, there's like kind of a built-in humidity, so that is not present in Houston. So anyway, I just was looking for other fellow-minded people to shoot around some questions with, and I wasn't having any luck on Facebook, so I just decided to start the group myself.
There you go. And it does a great job, and you do a great job of kind of posting information on a regular basis that really help, especially new gardeners, get there. So if you're out there and you need to join a gardening group or you want to learn more, this Houston Gardening Group is a great place to go. So, I know that you are a vegetable grower, you love growing plants, but cuttings is such a hard thing to do. Can you just give some wisdom on growing plants from cuttings? I've been pretty bad with it over the years, so maybe give me some advice.
Well, I'm going to give you a tip that if you know the Texas A&M Cooperative Extension, I know you're probably very familiar with that group, but that has been a lifeline for me. And each county has their own little ag extension. So anytime I had any questions, I could call in there, and sometimes they have master gardeners there taking calls, things like that. So if I had a specific question that I couldn't find in a catalog or a book or online, I would usually call them to ask questions. But cuttings, especially roses, I've really gotten into roses cuttings, and they are a little bit more finicky, but the rewards are unbelievable when you can actually get them to stick and grow.
Absolutely. So
they are kind of finicky, but there's a lot of resources out there, and there's so many good. There are so many rose growers on the Facebook page that they have a lot of wisdom as well.
Yeah, I guess that's a really great thing, is just, take a specific question and, take it to a group that gives you good advice. So we've got 2 of those that we can talk about here. So what we do on this is we answer gardening questions that people have put in. I did pull one off of the Houston Gardening Group, so maybe you'll recognize that, maybe not. But we'll just we will start with these questions. So let me bring them up real quick. So we'll go to question 1 first. Here we go, question 1. So this is from Martha. She says, my mind is on tomatoes. Not just any tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes. Got a favorite. So Becky, I'll let you go first if you have a favorite heirloom tomato.
Well, actually, I looked into this. I tried to grow tomatoes this year with not much luck, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try again. But
okay.
a lot of different schools, like LSU, where I went to school. They also have an ag center, and they actually put out something. And I'm pretty sure a lot of universities do this. They'll try different varieties and kind of grade them every year. But
Right.
a couple of out to me. One is called persimmon heirloom tomato. That looks
Man.
promising. And another one is German pink. That seems to have had a good prolific growing and a good taste. But you had mentioned one earlier that I didn't remember the name of it. What was it called?
Well, some of the heirlooms don't do great because they don't like humidity, and that's the trick with
Right.
heirlooms. Is it's good to get people local to you to recommend heirlooms to you because you want ones that can stand our soil problems, stand humidity. But the one I mentioned is black creme. It's a plum-sized tomato, maybe like a racquetball sized, and it's one of those darker ones, nice smoky flavor. But as everybody should know, I love a certain key fob-sized tomato called Juliet. It's my favorite for productive tomatoes. But there are heirloom tomatoes that like humidity, will produce with some heat, and can make a ton of tomatoes, both big and small. So I think that's a great thing to think about. But, whatever you've had success with, whatever your friends have had success with, it sounds like Becky and I are agreeing that that's what you go with, is what do the people that grow in your area recommend.
Yes.
Well,
I'm
good.
going to try that German pink this year and see if they work.
Well, hopefully I see the results of that efforts on the on that Facebook page. So love to also see those. That's cool. I may try it too if I can get my hands on some. I love trying a new tomato. They're such an easy thing to experiment with. Okay, our next question is from Joel. So he's apparently a novelist because he can write long questions. All right, here we go. Joel says, in early spring, I plan on aerating the lawn and doing a compost top dressing. Nice job, Joel. If you think I should go ahead and do that now instead of waiting for the spring, I will definitely take your advice. Also, so I'm just going to jump in and say, definitely do that top dressing now. It's a great time to encourage roots. So here's Joel's actual question. Also, should I go ahead and add another application of humates now or wait until the spring? So Joel's getting active in his lawn.
Yeah, I would actually recommend maybe waiting until mid to late February for the humates. Maybe right after you prune your roses or something like that. I think it may be a tad bit early to do those right now, but definitely aerating now wouldn't hurt, I don't think.
No, for sure. And, if you're doing a compost top dressing, compost does have a lot of humates in it. And so maybe you don't have to follow up right as quickly. Maybe do something else like molasses or super seaweed or even some fertilizer instead of that humates. Yes. No, that's great. But I'm with you. If you're going to do a compost top dressing now, you don't need to do humates right now either. So good word there. All right, here we go. This is a real challenging one from Sarah. So do want to just remind you guys, if you want to ask a question, there's that Facebook page that on the actual Facebook Live, you can ask a question live right there, and we love answering those. So just, fill it in. Anything goes. Gardening-wise, we answer gardening questions. So this is from Sarah. Sarah says, a bunch of my indoor plants have a fungus. Oh, any idea for how to treat it without neem? So without neem oil. Sarah's partner is allergic to neem oil, so that's her problem. So what's your advice? Somebody dealing with a bunch of indoor plants have a fungus.
Anytime I have any kind of issue with an indoor plant, it's usually something with position of the plant, either where it's located it's underneath a vent or close to a drafty door or something like that, or it's too root bound. So I always recommend repotting first. Repotting in a soil that I like. Let's see, it's called Fertilome. I think Fertilome Ultimate.
Okay.
It's Fertilome Ultimate. It's just basically an all-purpose indoor soil. So if you can find that on Amazon. I don't know if any local growers have it, but I would just maybe find just a slightly bigger pot with some new soil in there. Miracle Grow has an indoor plant mix as well.
Yeah. Do you think so? It sounds like a bunch of her plants have it. So maybe she does have a bit of a soil issue if she repotted everything with it, or I guess she just waited a really long time to fix it. So I think that indoor plants have never been my strong point, but you mentioned that almost any time you've changed the soil out on a plant, it's really done a good service to that plant.
It does always help. And if you just kind of play around with positioning the plant, maybe it's getting too much sun or not enough sun, or too much humidity or not enough.
Yeah, or just too much water. Just watering it too often. And lastly, neem oil is not your best fungal treatment anyway, so I wouldn't worry about using neem oil with your partner just because, that's not really what we go to. If you have a real bad fungal problem, I would encourage some watered down Consan 20 that'll actually knock the fungus back and maybe even help out with the soil-borne fungus that might be coming up the plant. So cut the water a little bit, move it around like Becky's saying, and maybe switch out some soil, some not as fungal rich. So that is what we got for you, Sarah. Hope that helps. All right, last canned question from Bill, and Bill asks, what are some good veggie seeds to plant this time of year?
As far as sowing the seeds in the ground, any kind of arugula or lettuce, cabbage is good for this time of year. Kale, peas, spinach, and any of the like chives, cilantro, or parsley for the herbs are good.
Nice, fast-growing ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I love lettuce seeds. They're so easy to do, and you get so much production from them. And you'll really be eating lettuce until like the end of April. So that's kind of a great one to go to. But definitely now is a great time to get stuff in your veggie garden in the Houston area. Our climate is such that it is really welcoming for almost anything. And one kind of off-the-wall seed you could be planting is some of those tomato seeds. If you can get them in the soil now, you may get a sprout, and you can push it with your good fertilizer. So speaking of annuals like vegetables, now is a great time to get a new batch of annuals in your regular garden. So we're going to focus on white annuals and the pop that you can get with those in this short day season. So we have a good message for that. So we're going to learn a little bit about white. Now is the season for winter flowers, and there's a ton of options. White flowers can add a lot of interest to your space. Ed brought some really cool ones. Ed, what are we looking at here?
Well, we've got snapdragons. Snapdragons are wonderful because they come in a multitude of colors, but also the most important part in terms of white is that they have different sizes. So
cool, yeah.
Anything from 6 to 8 inches up to almost 4 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Which is great. Dianthus here is a really good one. I have them in my garden, even went through summer, which is really impressive. There's a little bit of shade, but they went all the way through summer, are really turning on now. So great.
So this can be really long lasting.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's more bang for your buck, if you will.
Yeah.
This particular one here is Lobularia, which is one that I really like as well. It can perennialize too.
Okay.
Grows a little bit bigger than the next one here, the Alyssum, but this one will cascade quite a bit comparatively.
Nice.
And is more summer or heat tolerant, so it lasts longer here, which is really nice. The Alyssum is a great standby, smells nice, it fills in, stays low, so it's a good border plant.
Yeah, really good smell, I know that.
Yep, and nothing as good as this one here. The stalk is by far the best smelling. And
I'm going to smell it. Oh.
Yeah, awesome, huh?
That is really great. So why white? Why is white such a good choice?
Well, white is great because it's something you can see from great distances. You can see them at night. What I like about them more than anything, and I always put white when I do designs, regardless of shrubs or whatever, but I always like to include white because it's seen from the street, especially front yards. It's a great distance away from where your neighbors and other people are seeing your home, so it stands out. I guess so. The green against the white, or the white against the green, is really amazing. Yes, and it makes other colors in the garden, whether it's red or yellow, stand out. So. And I know at nighttime, winter, we have a longer night, so it's nice to have the white flowers because they stand out at night. For sure, absolutely. So, what are you using to fertilize these? Well, with the annual type things, I prefer to use Color Star because it gives them a good punch, keeps them healthy for the period of time that we need them. So it just keeps them going. Yeah. So when the white flowers, you want a lot of them, you want to pop them, so feed them pretty good. Correct. Well, awesome. Thanks a lot. And for more great info on all kinds of flowers, winter included, go to HomeShowGardenPros.com. Well, thanks, Ed, for that great information. Becky, thoughts on white flowers?
Oh, they're beautiful. I love the Alyssum too. And whenever you're doing like a potted plant, the Alyssum is nice to do on the outer rim so that it does cascade. It makes a beautiful plant.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Nice. Well, Becky, great job. We're gonna kind of wrap things up. So, she is, the founder of the Houston Gardening Facebook group. Literally, it's like 14,800 people. It's a huge group, and so just great job doing that. I know so many people have gotten gardening help from there. So, good work.
Thanks, Annie. I hope you can see me still. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed being here.
No, yeah, we appreciate it, and great job. Great job. And, if you have more questions, don't hesitate. Our Home Show Garden Pros Facebook group or the website, homeshowgardenpros.com. You can tune in this week to the radio show and ask a question live there. We'll have Zach Buchanan for both hours as our special co-op member there, expert answering questions. So hope to see you then, and keep things growing.